Hey viewers, if you want your stories, experiences of infidelity, breakup, cheating, to be narrated and get featured to others in our Mr. Cool's Planet community, feel free to submit your stories to the mail given in description. Either way, please don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. Let's go.
Welcome, my friends, to a world of infidelity and revenge. Today, we're bringing you some of the most incredible stories from around the world that will spark your curiosity and leave you in awe. It's time to let your mind wander and explore new horizons. Let's begin. Story 1. My now ex-wife 29F committed adultery, so I got her and her AP 33 meters imprisoned for 6 months and then deported. A number of years ago I worked in the Middle East. The area was fast developing and built on oil revenues. Many expatriates had good salaries and easy lifestyles. Compound living was the norm, think palm trees, pools and beach. I met my ex-wife through mutual friends at a party and we hit it off straight away. I found her engaging, intelligent and beautiful. I remember those times really well, everything was great, money, holidays etc. After a year we both wanted to settle down and make a life together, so we married and moved into a great villa on the beach. I had job in banking and finance, well paid with great perks. My wife had previously worked in a hotel as guest relations and decided it was something that she would now give up and study to become a teacher. Her teaching program was 2 years in total and required her to work in a school for at least 12 months. I was fully supportive, provided all the necessary funds and made sure my wife had everything. I was working long hours, but I was still attentive to her needs. Dates, nights, vacations etc. She always expressed how she loved me and how luckily she was to have met me. Her parents were also very pleased with me as the doting husband. Fast forward to her school internship, and after 6 months something I noticed had changed. She was becoming a little distant to me, a little secretive, using her phone, and was quite quick to pull me up on things. She was doing well in her internship and the school was lining her up for a position. She would get home around 3:30 p.m. and as she did not drive was dropped off by a colleague, while I would usually get in late around 8 p.m. One day, 6 months into her internship, I found I had left a hard copy file in my home office that had some important information I needed in a report. I am usually quite organized, so it was frustrating. I usually called my wife to let her know when I was arriving home, but on this occasion I just hopped in my car and drove for 40 minutes back home. It was around 3:30 p.m. and expected to see my wife. When I was driving up to the villa I noticed an unknown car in the driveway, and unusually the bedroom curtains were closed, which I had a habit of opening and closing in the morning and evening. Something immediately bothered me about this. It was not one of her girlfriend's car. I felt my heart pounding in my chest and was physically feeling ill. I had the presence of mind not to storm up the drive. I pulled over into a side street and waited. Within 45 minutes around 4 p.m. I saw a man who I did not recognize come out of my house and get into the car. My wife was waving him goodbye. I was in complete shock and disbelief. I convinced myself that there would be some rational explanation, although my mind was racing. I decided to follow the car. It went to the next expatriate compound and I noted the address. I decided to go to a nearby cafe and waited to go home. I needed real strength to maintain my composure. I called her saying I would be a little early today, and I was greeted by my cheerful wife saying that she would have something ready for me. It took me a lot of effort to control my emotions. Inside I was shattered. I got home and asked her how her day went. She explained that she had been busy at the school and that the students had been very well behaved and nothing eventful had happened. I asked her what time she got home and she said that she had got a lift from one of the teachers there and got home around 3 and was so tired she went straight to bed. I knew right then that my whole life with her was over. I wanted to confront her with what I knew there and then, but I did not. I was hurting and very angry. I knew something was going on but wanted hard evidence. That evening, I let my wife know that I was having difficulty waking up in time to get out early before she did, so I went out that night to what was called the electronic souk and bought an alarm clock camera, which I placed in the bedroom on my side of the bed. I could not really sleep, particularly because of what I had thought had gone on in the room. I did not want to be there, so I said I had some work I had to do in my home office. Later that night, when she was sleeping, I accessed her phone for the very first time. I would never have thought to do so otherwise, and there it was. A stream of texts which timeline a parallel relationship going back 5 months. I also had the name of the AP, he was a teacher and her program supervisor at the school. She complained how I always worked and never loved her, and he confirmed how he had married too young and his wife didn't care about him and how lucky he was to meet such a wonderful loving person. Lots of flirty BS and sex talk. I felt absolutely devastated, I just did not see it coming. It was such a knife to my heart that I decided that I would wreak absolute devastation on them and care nothing for the consequences. Adultery is a criminal offense in this country which is punishable up to 3 years in prison followed by deportation. I knew that I needed explicit video evidence of the act. For the next 5 days, I remained civil and purposely would leave early and arrive very late. It was one of the most difficult times in my life. She definitely sensed something and was always asking was I okay, can she do anything, etc. It wasn't long until I had one clear sexual encounter in high definition with accompanying audio. It was really too painful to view. I went to the police and filed a complaint against my wife and AP for adultery. I provided the video and audio evidence. The police said that they wanted to catch them in my house together, and so they staked out the house for a few days. On the 3rd day they caught them. They knocked on the door and my wife answered in a bathrobe and he was upstairs lying in my marital bed naked. They were both arrested. The shit show that followed was terrible. The scandal at the school, AP's wife having a meltdown and 3 embassies getting involved. I refused to speak to my wife, but she managed to get one of her friends to bail her out, but she could not leave the country as she was under a travel ban and her passport had been confiscated. This was now a criminal case, which the state was prosecuting. I did not want to know what happened to the AP, but needless to say his marriage did not last and he was out of job. I subsequently resigned, broke my lease early and flew back home and divorced. AP and her were found guilty of committing adultery and both sentenced to 6 months in jail and immediate deportation to their respective home countries. Note, she does not live in my country. I have never spoken to her since or cared about what she did. I have since moved on, married with 2 children and never been happier. It might be worth noting that those laws are still there, and if someone went on vacation to that country and committed adultery and there was hard evidence, the police will be forced to act. Man, you are awesome. A success story. If only others had the composure you did. But no, they flip out and make it worse for themselves. I'm glad you're living a happy life now. You are the real boss. Story 2. How can I completely move on? So my story is not straightforward black or white kind. Met my wife back in high school 17 years ago. We immediately hit it off. It was love at first sight. It truly was, but hey, we were in high school, with thousands of other teenagers. Our first years of relationship, it was a mess full of hormones, youth, lack of self-knowledge, self-doubt and jealousy. When we got in college, we both had abroad experiences. We agreed to not restrain ourselves from the experience, but we agreed that our relationship was too valuable to throw it away, so we would at least be honest about our meets. And we were. I knew about her flings, and she knew about mine. Nothing was serious. And we continued our relationship. Until 2 years after the Abroad Express, I found that with this guy, it wasn't just a fling, they were a real couple for a few months. She claims it was just the excitement of being abroad and that it wasn't real cheating, as we had this agreement. Which I agree, to an extent. But still, it really hurt, and to me, she broke the trust we had. This was more than 10 years ago. We talked about it. Healed. She made up. I wasn't perfect myself, although my offenses were not remotely close to this. And we are okay, I believe. Nothing has happened afterwards. We got married 6 years ago. We have 2 beautiful girls. Now I trust her. I do. We've seen each other grow and mature, not only about our romantic life, but also about every other aspect of life you can think of. We've been honest and open with each other. We coincide that our process of growing together and around each other is invaluable, but We are sorry we had met so young that we had to damage each other in the process of growing. But then, a few nights ago, she asked me why I wasn't as funny with her as with my friends, coworkers, even her family. And an awful and sad thought just popped into my head, because you don't deserve the best version of myself. Of course I didn't say it. But it got me sad and thinking, have I not moved on? Have I not healed? Or is it just the routine of marriage? I do want to be my best version for her. I do want to make her laugh more. It's not like I haven't forgiven her, or so I thought. There's nothing to say that hasn't been said before. I believe we both know our full story. And it's not like I want to bring it up again. So I come here looking for some nugget of wisdom. I do understand that if I committed and proposed to her, it means I let our past go. So given our past, how can I be my best version for her? How can I be my best version for her so my daughters see a happier and more romantic dad? How can I completely forget, forgive and move on? Does anyone have a similar experience? Hey amigo, listen. I think you're just human. I believe it's perfectly normal to get defensive in your mind and think a way to even the score as she's criticizing you. The key aspect is that's in your mind, you didn't say it out loud, and I'll bet if I ask you why you aren't as funny with her, the true answer is not that she had this undisclosed level of relationship more than 10 years ago. And it's also clear that you have forgiven her but just not forgotten, also really human. Story 3. Advice me people. My ex wants to get back together, we were together for 2.5 and we have a kid who is with me. 6 months ago she broke up and got with some guy for casual sex. Now she wants for us to be together, what do you think? By the way, I also had 2 relationships in these 6 meters. Let me expand the story a little bit. Also for the sake of the story, let's say all these facts are true. I am a hard-working, dedicated man, I like to work my ass off and have been neglecting my family. She couldn't take it and decided to chat with her coworker, nothing serious but enough for me to get mad. I found out, she dumped me. Said she wasn't happy and was going to do it. I said okay, no problem, and because of her work hours, she couldn't take the kid, so I did, which was perfect for me. At the start of the breakup, she would come by at my place at night, so we were in some on-off relationship. I had 2 relationships with other women, trying to move on. They didn't work. Recently we were talking about coming back together and I pressured her into telling me if she got with anyone. She was with this one guy for 2 nights. Update. You people were right and I didn't listen. 99% of you said I shouldn't be together with her, but stupid old me wanted to give her one more chance. By the way, before this we were 2.5 years together. So in the start, it was like a fairy tale, everything was fucking perfect, and a couple of days ago I checked some Viber messages while she was sleeping, and with one guy there were locked messages. I tried a couple I know she uses, like birthdays, but I could get in. I wanted to quit but I tried 1111 and I got in. Boy was that a stupid password for something like this. Turns out she was cheating with this one guy, I think, for the whole time. I never felt anything during our relationship. Every time she went to the city, she went to fuck with him. These were the dirtiest messages I ever saw, a bunch of nude photos of both of them and some videos of them doing it. I have never been so hurt in my life and I probably never will again. I never should have gotten back together with her, but at least now I know what our relationship was to her. Now for the more interesting part. I took the screenshots of the messages they were sending, him telling her confidential stuff about the company they both work in. By the way, he is in a very high position in the very big company. I am now looking for the advice that I will probably listen to. I was heartbroken but I love my kid so much, so I managed to keep my cool. I told her that I want the custody of the kid and money alimony payments this time. Also my son has some money medical bills that only I was paying until now, and I said she can see him every other weekend or else I will post these pictures everywhere, then everyone can see what a whore she is. Am I good? Am I the same as her? What should I do? Dude, I wanna say this. Wonder if she cheated on the guy she dumped you for. Maybe she came back to you so she could keep sleeping with this dude. You wanted her back knowing how much sex with someone else means to her. I honestly don't know how you're shocked. She abandoned you and the kid and now you're pulling a little blackmail for pennies. Out the fucking guy to his job for spilling secrets. Story 4. Is my partner cheating? I'm away on holiday with my daughter. My partner is at home and we have toddler with chickenpox who is asleep in bed. I was chatting to my partner while away about missing her and couldn't wait to be home and intimate. 1. Her phone then went off for several hours. 2. I then notice on the door camera she had been to her car and then on way back in stuck tape over the camera. 3. Amazon Alexa was offline. 4. I asked neighbor to check all was okay as I was concerned. Tape was removed and they knocked on the door several times with no answer. 5. A black car was outside the house never seen before. 6. I noticed one male alone open my front door, leave the house and unlock his car and drive off. Partner claims it was her friend and boyfriend that came round and she covered the camera in case I just saw the man enter the house. She then claimed her girlfriend had left the house first to sit in the car as she felt unwell. Followed shortly after by her boyfriend who went to the toilet. 1 minute after here they left her phone comes back on. She said the camera didn't pick up her friend leaving. What would you think? Brother. She's absolutely not telling you the truth. Why else find tape and put it on camera, turn off her phone, and turn everything else off, refuse to answer door. So, many choices to hide him that it only points to adultery. Adultery in your home, in your bed, with your child present. Did she tell you the names of these mystery friends BF? Did you catch license plate number? Good picture of the dude. When do you return? You should contact a lawyer. And that's an end for today's tales, my fellow explorers. We hope you enjoyed the ride and found some inspiration along the way. Remember, each story has the power to broaden our perspectives and enrich our lives. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest adventures, and leave a comment below to share your thoughts. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep exploring.